for self-defense. I have two sticks. You'll find this simple style of Filipino martial arts, Indonesian martial arts called Kali, Escrima, Arnis. There's a lot of really fancy, cool techniques that you will learn how to do. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of spins, a lot of twists, a lot of high strikes and low strikes. And what I want you to learn and what you to focus on is simplification. Find the most basic, simple thing that you can do with a stick for self-defense. We're going to talk about that now and how to practice, what you should practice to become proficient in self-defense stick fighting, how to defend yourself with a stick. This is a version, look at that, they're close to the same length. This is a version of a stick that law enforcement uses for self-defense or for law enforcement. You'll also see these in the military. This is just a police baton. Military carry these, and of course, law enforcement. Police officers carry this. This is the straight baton. The straight baton is used in very simple ways. It's used for striking, and this one was just sent to me by Doug. Thanks, Doug. This has a nice heavy weight to it. It has this cool rubber grip. You put your hand in there, that keeps it from flying out, so you don't lose it so easily. And the weight of it and the hard plastic material make it very devastating for self-defense as a striking tool. It's also used as a thrusting or jabbing tool. And standing online, a lot of law enforcement officers would get online in riot gear and they would step and they would put this low. This is not going to the face. That could cause a fatal injury going through the throat, devastating injury going through the face. However, if they take this and they stick it down into somebody's midsection right there between the belly button and the private parts, and hold on, I'm gonna lower this camera just a little bit. Oh, and while you're here, if you do like self-defense, any aspect of self-defense, any aspect of weapon training or stick fighting, please give me a thumbs up so I know to make more of these. Hello, Magnus. Good to see you. Magnus is from Sweden. Magnus, we're talking about stick fighting, how to hit somebody with a stick for self-defense. And I'm starting with this basic police baton. I'm showing you that you have the option of striking this way, any of these angles, a horizontal strike in either direction, a vertical strike coming down. You can even turn your hand and bring it up into the ribs, up under the chin, smash them. This is very effective. It's also a very effective jabbing or thrusting weapon, stepping in and pushing. And especially for law enforcement, you wouldn't want to be killing people in a riot. You want to put them on the ground though, and so you would be taking this and shoving it, and it would be moving in a downward direction, trying to hit that thin fascia of muscle, that thin sheath of muscle that holds your guts in. You hit somebody with a baton like this, it's going to put them straight on the ground. Now, I'm not teaching you how to be in law enforcement. I'm telling you how to defend yourself with a stick, how to hit somebody with a stick for self-defense. This is basic stick fighting. Thrusting here, you can also put two hands on it like this and go in through the face, into any part of the body. You can even use it, the tips of it, the ends, to box along the ears. Now, you say, but I don't have a police baton. You're not allowed to carry a police baton where you live, and that's true. In a lot of places you aren't, but a stick can come off of a tree. You can pick up a stick just about anywhere. You can make your own. If you want to buy a pair, this is hickory. This is a self-defense Kali Escrima stick. That's the first link below. But a stick like this, about the same length as that police baton, not as heavy, but heavy enough that you can strike with extreme power. You can thrust, you can shove, and you can box to the ears. There's one more way that I want you to see how to defend yourself using a stick like this, and it's going to require that you have this a little bit here. Garen asked, do I have sunbuck? I don't know what that is, honestly. It sounds familiar. I probably have. It's probably slipped my memory. Striking using the tip here, striking here, striking here, striking into the throat for fatal self-defense. But it's all for self-defense. I want you to learn how to fight with a stick. Stick fighting, how to hit somebody is very important. And the nice thing about learning how to hit somebody with a stick. B1 says you just got first Rattan escrima. Rattan is awesome. Most of mine are Rattan. That's what I use to teach people. This is the pair that I carry with me wherever I go, my everyday carry. Oh, the riot whip in Africa. I do not know how to use the riot whip in Africa. I know how to use a whip. I can use a whip really well. I haven't done it for a while, but I can use a whip. I'd like to see that one. But this kind of stick This is hardwood. It's not rattan. Rattan is actually grass. Oh, thank you, Heather. I appreciate that donation very much. It's very helpful in times like these. It's helpful at any time, but thank you very much. A hard stick like this, hardwood, it's nicer, it's pretty, right? It doesn't get beat up as well as those rattan sticks. Rattan is a grass. Hickory is a tree. And this striking with speed, power, turning your body, turning your hips. We'll talk about that. How do you generate knockout stopping power using a stick for self-defense? But having a harder wood, so you can train with the rattan. And then after a while, if you want to get serious about stick self-defense and have a self-defense tool that you keep at your house or in your car as like an extra insurance policy, a car insurance policy or an auto insurance policy, a homeowner's policy is what I call it when I have them at the house. Something goes bump in the night, you pick this up, you have something that extends your reach. That means if they've got a knife, I've got a stick, I have advantage because my stick's going to be longer than his knife. If they have any kind of bladed weapon, I have something I can strike them with, and I'm not trying to parry their knife. I'm not trying to hit the hand that's got the machete. I'm trying to smash them straight in their computer, in their operating system, and turn them out if I can. Guten Abend says in Germany. It's good to see you tonight, Peter. Striking straight through in the front hand, you can thrust into the face. Thrust here, or if you need to close that distance, you can turn and strike with the back end. Think about coming straight to the face. The power of hickory against nose, teeth, throat. It's very effective. Eyeballs, temple, neck, right? Ribs. Having something like this, or it doesn't have to be a hickory stick. Maybe you happen to be out. I walked along the back side of the building just now, and I went out there to take out the trash. Stinky back there. The trash is down in Florida. Everything rots, so it really stinks. Anyway, I digress. I found a lot of sticks. That's my point. I was walking and I thought, I wonder how many sticks I can find. I found parts of an old broom, parts of an old mop, metal handles. One was rusted up and nice and like jagged, and I think it would slice somebody up. It would not be a slashing tool. It would be more of a jabbing tool. If you put two hands on something like that. Then there was a, back behind the Mexican restaurant, he's got his brooms and his mops out there drying out so they don't get funky inside the restaurant. So they're all out there just laying there. And then when I got toward the end of the building, somebody had, because there's a donation box at the end, somebody had dropped off a bunch of cleaning supplies, and in there was a mop and a broom. So just walking along the back of the thing, I ran into a whole bunch. Rattan sticks can hit pretty hard. Let me show you. That's a great question. Glad you asked that, because I can show you right now the difference. Let me show you this pile. The metal ones down there do pretty good damage, but I still like the hickory better. This is rattan, and you can see it's got, a piece of PVC pipe or metal conduit works really well, Garen says. I agree, 1,000%. See that burning mark? I put that on there to make them look like, what's that cartoon that came out? Raya, the Last Dragon. I thought that would be popular. People would want to know how to fight like Raya with her collie sticks. And so I had to make a pair that looked like that because I didn't have any burned rattan. But there's peeled escrima, or peeled rattan, and unpeeled. That means it has the skin or unskinned is what they call it too. This one still has the skin on it. Sometimes the unskinned is better if they also will soak it in some kind of polymer that keeps it from busting apart. But these will last if you start to use them like you're supposed to, and you start fighting against somebody else, rattan to rattan, you're gonna go through them about 3 to 4 months, and then you have to get a new pair. These will last a very long time. So they're heavier too. But the difference, you said, what's the difference? The difference in how they hit. This one's rattan. That's gonna go fast. I'm gonna generate more power. You'll generate more power when you turn your shoulders and hips and you extend that arm. So make sure when you're practicing your strike, you extend your arm as you slice through and follow through. Practice the follow through, and you're gonna get more power. Now, if you have this, you're gonna have even more power because it's heavier. It's heavier, it's a denser wood. So as simple as that. This is, like I said, rattan is actually grass. Hickory is, of course, a tree, so the rattan, this is going to be a lot heavier. Now, I had a great question from Patreon and from one of the YouTube members here. So Studer asked me, and one of the Patreon, they had the same question. Hey, Doug, we were just showing them. Doug also sent me, I'm going to trip myself there. This one hits the hardest. If I were to put all three together, the police baton that Doug sent me hits way, way hard. And Doug asked me earlier, how do I like the rubberized grip? I think it's great. It really allows you to keep it in your hand. It's a lot stronger when you strike. But again, you can't always carry these. Some areas, local jurisdictions, police enforcement, law enforcement, if you're not a cop, they're gonna take it from you, and you might be charged with intent to hurt somebody because you have it. And if you use it in self-defense, then the lawyer can say, well, you know, what's he carrying? Police, he's not a cop. He shouldn't be walking around. He went out looking for a fight, or she went out looking for a fight. So that's the only danger if you carry one of these and you're not licensed to carry it, or you don't have a reason to, like security guard, law enforcement, then you would want to carry it. You would want to know how to use it. And again, this is one strike, but my favorite is always going to be a thrust. This kind of strike, if done incorrectly, and almost everybody in the heat of the moment will swing big and wide. And if this guy jumps in and closes the gap, you just wrap your arm around him. You don't even hit him with it. But if you learn how to keep it in front of your body and thrust right in the middle, even if he jumps in, let him run into the end of that. And then from there, push him off, and on the way out, give him one of those for self-defense. One of those extra ones, right? But learn how to thrust, shove, and slash. And then, of course, using the back of the stick, this part here is also a very effective part of the weapon. Use this to strike into the neck, into the face. And this type of material, this kind of police baton, this will break bones. There's no question this will break bones. This will also break bone because it's hickory. And it'll compress the flesh. Right under the flesh is the bone, and it's going to pop it. This could break bone, but it's not as likely to. They use rattan, not as thick as this, but they use rattan in a lot of countries, Asian countries, island countries especially, to cane people with, meaning to whip them when they've done the wrong thing. So, yeah, you can get the high density propylene escrima sticks, Garen said. Hello, David, it's good to see you. David, I have not forgotten about the chain. I keep looking for the chain. I can't find an appropriate chain. I almost took one from the gym next door to bring it over, but it's not my chain, so I'm not gonna take his stuff. When I run into him, I might say, hey, can I borrow your chain for a little bit? And then we'll run over to David. David wants to talk about how to use a chain, like a bicycle chain or a chain on a fence for self-defense. It is a very effective weapon, so we will definitely do that. I have not forgotten, just haven't got to it yet, haven't found it. But I do want to show you how to defend yourself simply using any stick. And that's the benefit of training with a stick. Learning how to hit somebody with a stick for self-defense. Stick fighting means that you can pick up any stick. It could be half as long. It could be twice as long. It doesn't have to be this hard material. It can be a lighter material that might break under force. And then, like I said, you wouldn't be slashing like this because it might shatter it in the middle. You might have to use it like this, where you have a lot more strength. Think about how that works. The power going through here can be pushed back here, and it's a lot stronger than the power coming from here. But I wanted to talk about one more thing. This is what I was getting to a minute ago. One of the Patreons, and then Studer asked me, how do you do this liquid transference or shockwave transference? And it's just basically, it's the idea of striking and following through your strike. I don't know how else to put it. It's something that we've practiced so long. We used to do it with kicking, with punches. You want to hit somebody so that like 3 generations from now, they're feeling it, right? Like their great-grandson wakes up and says, what was that? I always thought about that. I thought about, like, can I hit this guy so hard that his great-grandson, for self-defense, that wasn't that was competition, but the same basic idea. And it's the idea of pulling your punch or not fully extending. And so a boxer is the greatest example, even though boxers don't talk about shockwave transference, that really comes from more in the martial arts world. It's the same thing. When a boxer does a full extension. And you see, like boxers turn this hand over, right? And they do that so that they can make sure that they are locking out that arm. So you have to all the way extend the arm. Second thing is this rotation of the shoulders and hips. So when you extend and rotate, you're now transferring from the ground up because your feet are touching the ground, and by turning through shoulders and hips, you're pulling the energy through the floor, not in some Middle Eastern chi, or not Middle Eastern, Eastern, chi, excuse me, I had an itch there, ki, sci-fi, and I don't believe it's sci-fi, I believe in it because I've used it for so long. But it's not just a chi thing. You're not hitting somebody with your ki. It's certainly not that dim mock fakery, that goofiness. It's grounding your feet off the floor and pushing with every muscle from the bottom of your foot, coming forward, turning through your shoulders and hips, and that full extension. The same thing would be done with your weapon. So in other words, you might not be as strong as you used to be. You can still knock somebody out. You can still stop the fight. Create stopping power. At any age, if you learn how to hit and go through the target. And the way that you do that is we have to practice it, right? You don't strike and pull back, or you don't strike and stop. Most people strike and stop. And another way this is described is by When Violence is the Answer by Tim Larkin. And he has a phrase called never slap a killer. And I think it's the most brilliant phrase I've ever heard in the world of self-defense. And what he's saying is, if you have to hit somebody in self-defense, you better try to knock them out. You better try to stop the fight, because if they pull out a gun, if they're a killer, you're done. And if you just do what people do in most fights, street fights, they're just two guys beefing up on each other and trading testosterone. That works for 80% of the people, and then you run into a killer, and then you're done. Because you slap him, and he doesn't slap back. He comes out, and you're right. If it's for real self-defense, not if you're just some macho jerk, you need to learn how to have some self-control. That's the best self-defense advice, is grow up. Don't be a baby. Don't go out looking for fights all the time. But if you have to defend yourself and you have to strike with a weapon like this, you need to turn your shoulders and hips, and when you strike, you push through the target. Now that's not to say put your stick on it, push. It's not the same thing. It's striking, and at the end of the moment, everything is relaxed, and as you hit, you tense all the muscles, exhale. That's the purpose of the Serena and Venus Williams. When they hit the tennis ball, they started doing all that grunting that came after Monica Seles till that Steffi Graf fan got her, right? She should have with her stick. But that's what a racket is, right? Stick self-defense. Again, I digress. But that's the same thing. The way the boxer breathes out, the way martial artists, ki-ai or ki-up, however you want to say it, and then you throw that yell, that's squeeze everything. And when you strike, push all your energy through at the last second. Same thing is true with your stick. Whether it's this stick and this strike or this strike, every strike has to count, and you get that by hitting and then following through, continuing through, and until you can't stop any longer, or until you can't hit any longer. Doug says, learned years ago, baton, straight stick, keep the hands near the ends for leverage. Yes, it also allows you better leverage if they do grab your stick. If your hands are here and they grab the outside, guess what? They've got leverage. If your hands are on the outside, like Doug's saying, and they grab in here, you've got that leverage. And twisting here is going to be a really good solution. There's another solution, but I need somebody here to help me demonstrate it. We'll do that one time when Doug's in town. From here, striking, turning, thrusting, and practice. And if you don't have something to strike, don't worry about it. You can still practice striking in the air. The way you do it is you start slowly at first, right? And then you start to increase your speed, and you speed up, and you speed up. Notice this hand is always up. Don't let it dangle in the dirt. Don't let it go down there and then you hit yourself with it. Or you get in a bad habit of doing this, and this becomes an anchor of a boat, like the anchor of a boat. If this arm is down, your shoulders and hips won't rotate. It just doesn't work. It has to be here in order for them to rotate. So think about this hand, keep it up, and that's going to allow you to rotate. Now, somebody else has a stick, and they want to hit you, and you need to defend yourself against a stick. You don't have a stick, you don't have a weapon in your hand. They have any kind of maybe it's a skateboard, stick, machete, a hatchet, axe, any kind of weapon, you're not gonna try to block against that weapon. Don't block the weapon. If you need to, you can cover up like this. This is the best thing to do. That way, if they do hit something, it's hard on the outside, it's the bony surface. Don't do this. That exposes all your soft spots, right? So you're gonna cover up like this. You're gonna lead with an elbow into, let's say this is his face. He's got a stick. I wish it was a real person to show you, but use your imagination, right? From here, I'm gonna close the distance, leading with my elbow. Leading with one elbow, and then I've got another elbow. I can bring the hands in, go into his throat, smash to his face, drop down, and stick it in his gut. He swings. The worst thing you can do is back up and give him full reach of his swing. If you back up, you're in big trouble. He's gonna smash something, or if he's got a machete, some bladed weapon, you're gonna be sliced open on the worst places possible. All your vital spots are open like this. Instead, you're gonna go like this. And you have to train this. You have to visualize a threat with a weapon, and you cover up. And you can't hesitate. You have to train your hesitation out. As soon as you realize there is a weapon involved, you're not gonna try to time him slashing at you or trying to stab you. By then, it's too late. Your brain won't react fast enough. It's almost like you see the weapon, your panic button goes off, boom, and you just drive straight into his face. And if you have to leap like a frog, like a puppy jumping onto, I don't know if you've ever been, you go to the place where they rescue the dogs, the Humane Society or whatever, and then you go in and you're looking at the dogs are always leaping up on people. You gotta be one of those dogs. You gotta leap in and stick this elbow right into his face. And if it doesn't hit him the first time, keep going. And as soon as you make contact, go into his throat, go into his temple multiple times, and then drop down and smash. Hopefully he's like this, and that has either fallen out or you knocked him out in that first strike. If you can hit him in this first strike, and then you can drive these where you can hit him in the throat or smash him right through his, just like this, right into his face. All that soft tissue, hard as you can, you knock him back. If you can drive this in, you don't have to worry about the knife and how to take it away from him. That doesn't work. Usually doesn't work for anybody. There was the case of the Marine, former Marine, Semper Fi brother. I think he's standing in a store. A guy comes in with a gun to rob the place. The man does not think twice. I don't think he thought at all. I think he turned, he saw a gun. He goes like this to put his hand out toward the gun. The other hand, I think he had a bag of drinks in his hand. He hits the guy, boom, straight across the side of his face, which is a sure way to knock somebody out. If you're also extending and turning and driving your body, knocks the guy, boom, totally off. There's another recent example, 3 men. Guy comes in, similar kind of thing. Guy comes in to rob him. The one guy, they all go for his gun. The one guy pulls, the bad guy, as he's retreating from the gun, they're all going for the gun, shoots one of them dead. And then he gets away, one of the guys gets the gun away from him, the other 2 don't get killed. But the point is, the man who didn't hesitate, he went for the operating system. And that's not me. Again, this is a lot of Tim Larkin stuff. I learned that from him in that book, When Violence is the Answer, and in his podcast. So go watch his stuff. But apply it with your stick. When you want to learn how to stick fight, it's basic stick fighting, how to hit somebody with a stick for self-defense. Go for that operating system. Like I said, if you can, first thing that I like to do is that thrust right into his face to check his forward movement. Make him stop. From here, I can then smash in through especially if he's got a weapon, I'm going for that head. And then if he's falling to the ground, hit him again for self-defense. But that's the basic idea. Use your stick, practice with it. Don't practice with any stick. You don't have to have a fancy stick that you paid any money for. Take an old broomstick, cut it in half. Or just look around the house, look around the neighborhood. You will find a stick, I promise you. And train with it. Imagine what you can do with it. But keep it simple. Simple thrusts are first. 2-handed thrusts are even better. And then you have 2-handed pushing motions. If you want, you can strike with one hand, kind of like a Irish fighting stick, a shillelagh. You can fight like a sword. It's super, super simple. And then always remember, you've got this backside. In Kali martial arts or escrima, this is also used to strip away their weapon or strip away their knife or to trap them or to lock them up. But you can also keep it simple and just use this as a striking surface. And this, just think of a back fist, right? Back fist or knife strike or hammer fist. But now you have a hard piece of oak, or in this case, hickory, right there. Again, if you want to see what true escrima, self-defense, these are the quantum protector sticks. These are the ones that I carry. If you want to see what these look like, look at the first link below. Hello, Richard. It's good to see you again. You guys have been great. Hopefully we'll have time to do another one tonight. I'm going to just play it by ear. As I said to Doug earlier, I never have a set schedule anymore because I'm running around. I just happen to have some open time today. Mopped the mats, cleaned the floor, did a bunch of push-ups, got something to eat, came back, and I did another one. Did one this morning if you want to go back and take a look on the hanbo. And then I was going to do this one on the bow, but then I just started thinking about, I love stick fighting. Let's talk about more stick fighting, how to hit somebody with a stick for self-defense. So you guys were awesome. Thanks, David. Good to see everybody. I'll see you in a little bit. Oh, and Heather, thanks again for that donation. That really helped.